Margaret bought her first resistance band at 67 years old, not because a doctor told her to, not because she read about it online. She bought it because she was tired of feeling her legs get weaker every year, tired of struggling to carry groceries up the stairs, tired of watching her balance get worse and telling herself it was just part of getting older. The band cost her $9 at the pharmacy. 8 weeks later, her daughter called her and said, "Mom, you look different, you look stronger." Margaret had not changed her diet. She had not joined a gym. She had not bought expensive equipment or hired a personal trainer. She had simply used that $9 band for 12 minutes every morning in her living room. Today, I am going to give you the exact 7 exercises Margaret used. Exercises that rebuild muscle, restore balance, protect your joints, and slow the physical decline that most people over 60 believe is simply unavoidable. It is not unavoidable, and by the end of this video, you will know exactly what to do about it. Stay with me, because exercise number 5 is the one that physical therapists say makes the single biggest difference for seniors, and most people never do it. Before we get into the exercises, I want to take 90 seconds to explain why resistance bands are particularly powerful for people over 60. Because once you understand this, everything changes. After 60, the body begins losing muscle mass at a rate of 1 to 2% every single year. Scientists call this sarcopenia, and it is not just about how you look. Muscle loss is directly connected to balance problems, joint pain, slower metabolism, weaker bones, and dramatically higher fall risk. For decades, the solution was weights, but weights have a serious problem for older adults. They put fixed, rigid stress on joints that may already be inflamed, arthritic, or recovering from injury. The force is the same at the beginning of the movement as it is at the end, and that creates a very high injury risk, especially for knees, shoulders, and the lower back. Resistance bands work differently. When you use a resistance band, the tension increases gradually as you stretch it. This means the muscle works hardest at the point where it is strongest and safest, and the joint is protected throughout the entire movement. A landmark study published in the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity found that resistance band training in adults over 60 produced the same strength gains as traditional weight training, with significantly less joint stress and a dramatically lower injury rate. Same results, safer for your body, and it costs less than $10. Now let us get into the 7 exercises. Exercise 1. The seated row. Sit on the edge of a firm chair. Loop your resistance band around both feet. Hold one end in each hand with your palms facing each other. Sit tall, pull both hands back toward your hips, squeezing your shoulder blades together at the top. Hold for 2 seconds. Slowly return to start. Do 12 repetitions. This exercise targets the muscles of your upper back, the rhomboids, the rear deltoids, and the mid-trapezius. These are the muscles that pull your shoulders back and keep you upright. In most seniors, these muscles are severely weakened from years of sitting in a forward position. When they weaken, posture collapses forward. The neck juts out. The lower back strains to compensate, and pain follows. The seated row directly reverses this pattern. Within 4 to 6 weeks of consistent practice, most seniors report noticeably better posture, less neck tension, and reduced upper back pain. Keep your back straight throughout. Do not let your shoulders round forward. Pull with your elbows, not your wrists. Exercise 2. The standing chest press. Loop the band behind your back at shoulder height, holding one end in each hand. Stand tall with feet shoulder width apart. Press both hands forward until your arms are fully extended in front of you. Hold 1 second. Slowly return. Do 12 repetitions. This targets your chest, front shoulders, and triceps, the pushing muscles of your upper body. These muscles are essential for pushing yourself up from a chair, opening heavy doors, and catching yourself if you begin to fall forward. Research from the University of New Mexico found that seniors who trained their pushing muscles alongside their pulling muscles reduced their shoulder injury rate by 43% compared to those who trained only one side. Keep your core gently engaged throughout. Do not lock your elbows at full extension. Exercise 3. The resistance band squat. Stand on the center of the band with feet shoulder width apart. Hold one end in each hand at shoulder height, elbows bent, palms facing forward. Now slowly lower yourself as if sitting back into a chair, keeping your chest up and your weight through your heels. Lower to about 90 degrees. Hold 1 second at the bottom. Press through your heels and slowly rise. Do 10 repetitions. This is the most functional exercise on this list. Every time you sit down or stand up from a chair, a car seat, a toilet, your quadriceps, glutes, and hamstrings are doing exactly this movement. When these muscles are strong, every one of those daily activities becomes easier and safer. The band adds resistance to the upward phase of the movement, meaning your muscles work harder at exactly the point where they are most capable of handling the load. This is what makes band squats so much safer than barbell squats for older joints. If this feels difficult at first, reduce the depth. A half squat done consistently is far more valuable than a perfect squat done once and abandoned. Exercise 4. The lateral band walk. Place the band around both ankles. Stand with feet hip-width apart, enough tension in the band that you feel resistance. Now step to the right with your right foot, then follow with your left. Take 10 steps to the right, then 10 steps back to the left. Keep your knees slightly bent throughout and your torso upright. This exercise targets the hip abductors, the muscles on the outer hip and thigh that control sideways stability. These muscles are almost universally weak in sedentary older adults, and their weakness is one of the primary reasons seniors develop a swaying, unstable gait and ultimately fall. A clinical trial published in the journal Gait and Posture found that seniors who trained their hip abductors with resistance bands for 8 weeks improved their walking stability by 38% and reduced their fall risk by 31%. Keep the movement slow and controlled. Do not let your knees cave inward. If the band is too tight, widen your foot position to reduce tension. Exercise 5. The resistance band deadlift. And here it is. Exercise number 5. The one physical therapists say makes the biggest difference, and the one most seniors never do. Stand on the center of the band with feet hip-width apart. Hold one end in each hand, arms hanging straight down. Now hinge forward from your hips, not your lower back, pushing your hips backward as you lower your hands toward the floor. Feel a gentle stretch in your hamstrings. Then drive your hips forward and stand tall, squeezing your glutes at the top. Do 10 repetitions. The deadlift trains what researchers call the posterior chain, the entire back side of your body. Your hamstrings, glutes, lower back extensors, and upper back all work together in one coordinated movement. This chain of muscles is responsible for standing upright against gravity. It is responsible for walking with power and stability. It is the chain that prevents the forward shuffle and stoop posture that becomes common after 60. Harvard researchers studying hunter-gatherer elders found that their posterior chain strength was dramatically better preserved than similar-aged Western adults. The reason was simple: they constantly bent, lifted, and carried. They trained this chain every single day without thinking about it. The resistance band deadlift gives you that same training in a safe, controlled environment. Keep your back flat throughout, never round your lower back. Hinge from your hips, not your waist. If you feel this in your lower back, you are rounding. Reduce the range of motion and focus on pushing your hips backward. Exercise 6. The overhead shoulder press. Stand on the center of the band with feet shoulder-width apart. Hold one end in each hand at shoulder height, elbows bent, palms facing forward. Press both hands straight up overhead until your arms are fully extended. Hold 1 second. Slowly lower back to shoulder height. Do 12 repetitions. Shoulder strength is one of the most overlooked elements of senior fitness, but it is essential. Reaching for something on a high shelf, putting luggage in an overhead compartment, lifting a grandchild, all of these require overhead strength. When that strength disappears, independence quietly shrinks. The band provides increasing resistance as you press upward, making the movement challenging at the top where your shoulder muscles are strongest and protecting the joint at the bottom where it is most vulnerable. This is the opposite of what happens with dumbbells. Do not arch your lower back as you press. Keep your core gently braced. If you feel any sharp shoulder pain, reduce the range of motion or use a lighter resistance band. Exercise 7. The standing hip extension. Anchor one end of the band to a sturdy piece of furniture at ankle height. Attach the other end around your right ankle. Stand facing the anchor point, holding the furniture for light support. Now slowly swing your right leg straight back about 12 inches, squeezing your glute at the top. Hold 2 seconds. Slowly return. Do 12 repetitions each side. This exercise directly targets the gluteus maximus, the largest, most powerful muscle in your body. And in most seniors, it is dramatically underactivated. Sitting for long periods essentially puts this muscle to sleep, and when it stops firing properly, the lower back takes over. Knee pain develops, hip pain follows, balance deteriorates. Waking the glutes back up with direct resistance training is one of the most impactful things you can do for your overall mobility and pain levels after 60. You should feel this entirely in your buttock, not your lower back. If you feel it in your back, reduce the range of motion and focus on squeezing the glute deliberately at the top of the movement. So there you have it. 7 exercises: the seated row, the standing chest press, the resistance band squat, the lateral band walk, the deadlift, the overhead press, and the standing hip extension. Done together, this routine takes approximately 15 minutes. You do not need to do all 7 every session when you are starting out. Begin with 3 or 4. Build up over 2 to 3 weeks and aim for 3 to 4 sessions per week. The research is consistent on this. Seniors who perform resistance training 3 times per week show measurable improvements in muscle mass, bone density, balance, and joint health within 8 to 12 weeks. Not months, weeks. Margaret did not become a different person in those 8 weeks. She became more herself, more capable, more confident, more free. And that is what this is really about. Not exercise for its own sake, not fitness as a chore, but the simple, powerful reality that your body at 60, at 70, at 80 still responds to training, still rebuilds, still adapts. You just have to give it the signal. A $9 resistance band, 12 minutes a day, 3 days a week. That is the signal your body has been waiting for. If this video helped you, please share it with someone over 60 who needs to hear this. And subscribe for honest, clear health information every single week. As always, please consult your physician or physical therapist before starting any new exercise program, especially if you have existing joint conditions, recent surgery, or any cardiovascular concerns. Your safety always comes first. I will see you in the next one. Start this week. Your body will remember exactly what to do.